whenever I'm doing an activity, it doesn't matter what it is. Whenever I'm doing an activity that I can pay somebody else, let's say $15 an hour. Whenever I'm doing that activity that I can pay somebody else $15 an hour to do, while I'm doing that activity, I am earning $15 an hour. I just put the value of my time at $15 an hour if I'm doing an activity that pays and earns $15 an hour. So when I set out to automate those years ago, I took an inventory throughout the day of what am I doing right now? And I came up with this quote that I say all the time: successes are scheduled. Successes are scheduled. And so my practice is I do a brain dump. I do a brain dump on my yellow pad every night before I go to bed. And then early in the morning when I get up, then I take that brain dump and then I prioritize it. So anyway, be aware of what you're doing with your time, because unfortunately, until people actually captivate their time and can be in control of their time, then the tide takes them through the day. And how many times have we in the past thought to ourselves, you get to the end of the day and you think to yourself, why didn't I get anything done I wanted to do? I was doing all this other stuff. So take control of your time, and that ties right into this automation process.
If you're a real estate investor and are wondering how to raise and leverage private money to make more profit on every deal, then you're in the right place. On Raising Private Money, we'll speak with new and seasoned investors to dissect their deals and extract the best tips and strategies to help you get the money, because the money comes first. Now here's your host, Jay Conner.
Hello, everybody. This is Jake Stenziano, host of Wheelbarrow Profits Podcast, here with my co-host, the multifamily mentor, the coach, the chef, the father of six, the best-selling author, the G-Daddy, Gino Barbaro. Gino, how's it going?
Mr. Stenziano, I missed you, brother. You haven't been on the show for a few weeks.
Man. It's been a few weeks, right? So, hey, let's break it down, man. We got 73 tickets left for Multifamily Mastery, October 6th and 7th. It's going to be a big room. She cut us off yesterday. She said there only can be 350 people. You got 73 tickets left. G-Dad, who's going to be there? What's going on with this thing?
Well, we followed up from last year, Mr. Stenziano. Buy right, manage right, and finance right. That's what the multifamily framework is. We've got some amazing speakers. We're going to be presenting something called multifaceted multifamily, which I think our guest is really aspiring to and really has. It's an awesome presentation. We have Jay Scott from Bigger Pockets. We have Kim Taylor there. We have Reed Goosens, who's a syndicator there. Yeah, we've got Dave Zook, who's just he's a beast. Awesome investment guy. We've just got a great lineup of people who are doing it. I said it offline before. We got the gurus. We got the guys who are gurus, but they're all doing it. And that's the most important thing. They're doing it in this market, what we're doing. So we want to teach people what's going on, how to, introduce them to the framework and how they can get to multifamily.
Cost seg, property management. You got financing, Paul Peebles. You got Sumrock coming. It's gonna be a awesome. Great event, no doubt. So, getting back to today, today's guest is Jay Conner. In the beginning of his real estate career, Jay was dependent on the banks for financing. I know that feeling, but now he relies on a different method. He now has the ability to raise millions in a short period of time without the banks. G-Dad, this sounds like a guy that's taking control of his destiny.
That's right, my friend.
He's manning up here. So without further ado, Jay, welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Jake and Gino, all the way here from Morehead City, North Carolina. My lands, I love you guys' energy. Thank you for having me on.
He's one state over. I can give this guy a high five right now, right?
Something like that. I'm not sure.
So man, we love the energy. We love you. We love your energy. Tell us about your real estate company today and how everything changed when the banks cut you off.
Wow. I tell you what, it's the biggest blessing in disguise that I've ever had in business was when I was cut off from the bank. So what does business look like today? Well, we're primarily doing single family houses today. I did my first major commercial project 20 years ago, shopping center in Newport, North Carolina. It was pretty fun this past, this is like 4 months ago. The final mortgage payment of $22,350 a month was paid off. So that's baby's free and clear.
Nice.
That's what you call nice passive income. But anyway, we do about 2 to 3 houses a month here in a very, very small area. A total target market of only 40,000 people, which means if we can do it in a small market, anybody can do it anywhere. But what's different about our business is the average profits per single family house are $64,000 per house. And so, again, 2 to 3 transactions a month, but run those numbers and those numbers work out okay. So I've been doing it for 15 years here in this small market. And let's see, it was 9.5 years ago. 9 years ago this past February, I called up my banker, and his name was Steve. The operative word was Steve. Called up Steve, and guys, I had this conversation many times with Steve. I called him up. I said, I got 2 houses under contract. Want to close in about 3 weeks. Now, these 2 houses represented over $100,000 combined in total profits and equity. And I, told him where the houses were located and the funding required. And Steve went quiet on the other end of the phone, which is never a good sign, right? And so Steve cleared his throat and he said, Jay, I'm sorry, but the bank has collapsed your line of credit. I said, what do you mean? I knew that didn't sound good. And he said, well, we're just not loaning money out to real estate investors anymore. And, I know you guys remember what was going on in 2008, 2009. I mean, it's like the spigot was turned off overnight. And so I asked myself, well, what am I going to do? So I could choose to quit or I could choose to find another way. So I was introduced to this wonderful world of private money, not hard money, private money. And in less than 90 days, I attracted and raised $2,150,000 in private money. And that's been growing ever since. And so because of that experience of being cut off from the banks, I have not missed out on a deal in 9.5 years because I did not have the money.
So Jay, let's rewind. Why real estate? Why did you get into real estate?
I was born and raised around real estate. My father, Wallace Connor, up until the late 80s, had the largest manufactured housing company in the nation. So I was raised around affordable housing. And I knew if I ever got out of manufactured housing, I wanted to be a flipper. I wanted to buy and sell single family houses. And what really triggered it was back in 1993. Of course, I was still in the manufactured housing business, but a good friend of ours in Newbern, North Carolina, didn't have the money to build his and his wife's house. And at that time I was, busting as hard as I could to make $2,900 on a single wide mobile home. And in less than 90 days, they flipped the house and made like $25,000. That was in 93. And I said, if I ever get out of the mobile home business, I want to do real estate. But really today, why do I do real estate? It's for a couple of 3 reasons. Obviously the profits are very, very substantial, but you can automate this business to where you don't have to be working in the business, 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. You can automate the business like I'm sure you guys have, I have, to where I'm actually in the business probably 5 hours a week, got an amazing team. And so it's a business that you can scale and automate. And, it's all about the wealth and freedom and what it allows you to do as far as in your own life, your family's life, and making a difference in other people's lives. We touched lots of people's lives.
That's it, man. Spot on.
Okay, I heard all the love, all the rainbows and sunshine. Now, what do you hate about
sunshine and rainbows, man? Every day, man. He's spot on with that.
But what do you hate about real estate? I mean, is there anything you really despise about it and say, oh man, I wish I wasn't in this business?
What do I not like about real estate? About the only thing that comes to mind is learning lessons the hard way in the past. That's what I don't like about real estate. Of course, I guess that's true in any business, but I wish I had gotten a mentor a lot sooner than I did. I heard y'all talking about your event you got coming up right around the corner. I mean, I'm telling you, people, you either going to invest your time in getting education, or you're going to get your education another way that you don't plan on getting it, which is like going to a seminar you didn't plan on going to.
Mm-hmm.
So like one of my biggest mistakes I made when I started out was the market was so hot, 15 years ago and leading on up to 2008 and 9. And I remember 3 properties distinctly that I bought with the intention of flipping, but I wasn't smart enough at the time to run the numbers to look and see, hey, look, if I can't flip these babies and the market turns, the rent will not cover the carrying cost.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what did I not like about real estate? Learning that lesson the hard way. Don't invest in real estate unless the rent will cover your carrying costs, even if you intend to flip it.
So Jay, let me ask you, you started a long time ago. Were there programs out there? Was there any mentors out there at the time? So maybe did you make that mistake, or are you seeking people, or there was nobody out there or no programs out there at the time when you started?
Oh, I'm sure there were programs out there, but I didn't do it the right way. I read a couple of books. I relied on my manufactured housing experience. Now, don't get me wrong. The first 6 years were pretty good. Mm-hmm. I made those condos I bought on the beach, made that mistake like 2 years into it. But I just wasn't seeking where I needed to seek to get my education at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't feel like I needed it. But, like you guys, y'all have got a ton of students. I train people on single family houses as well. And I tell students, the biggest advice I can give you is get your education, because you're going to get it either way. Just get it the easy way.
I agree. So what kind of deals are you doing right now?
Yeah. So the single family houses, the entry level price point on a first time home buyer is about $150,000 around here in my target area. The medium price point's $225,000. So even today, after being in the business for 15 years, my focus on the deals I do are entry level price point, because after all, that's where the largest pool of buyers are for single family houses is first time home buyers. Mm-hmm. And I sell quite a few of them on rent to own. That's the most profitable way to sell a single family house, is we sell it on rent to own.
Became the bank.
That's right. And they don't negotiate on price. We got a fantastic credit repair team that helps them get ready for a mortgage. And most people that buy rent to own do not cash out if they're left to their own devices. But that's not my business model. Mm-hmm. My business model is these people want to own. That's their intent. So, we take the non-refundable option fee that, of course, will be applied to their down payment, closing costs, purchase price, et cetera. But 80% of our rent-to-own people actually do cash out because we hold their hand and lead them to the mortgage.
Mm-hmm. So, Jake, I want you to dive into our multifaceted multifamily real quick for Jay, and then I want Jay to describe his business model and tell the listeners how his business model is multifaceted also. You do that for me, bro?
Sure. Yeah. So basically we try to control the entire process. And I think you're attempting to do the same thing. And, we have a management company in place. So we buy a large scale multifamily, say 150, 300 units, whatever it may be. We put the management in place. We run the management. And if there's like construction, we're doing that construction end of it. We're also finding our own deals. We've started to actually, a brokerage. So we're actually going to be finding our own deals where if we can't buy it, we're going to sell it. So everything that's basically involved in our process, and we're holding it long term, we're controlling the entire process, right? And then there's the education arm of it as well. So if we can help people that way, we do it. So there's really, 4 broader entities all based around the multifamily home. So it sounds like you have multiple entities based around the single family home and also a larger financing component.
That's correct. So, there's 4 pillars to my buying and selling business besides my training company. And the 4 pillars are finding, funding, flipping, and automating. So on the finding, one thing that we do is my wife, Carol Joy, and I 15 years ago, we started out putting together our own foreclosure business of locating these opportunities to help people get back on their feet before other real estate investors even know they exist. So she put together the tracking mechanism. We don't rely on online sources even today, because we actually have a courthouse assistant that goes to the courthouse twice a week, updates all the files, and we actually track every notice of default. Some states it's a summons, but we track everyone until the file is dismissed. And, you know, sometimes, I know you all don't believe this, but real estate investors get a bad rap, like we're out here to take advantage of people or something.
Man, we're the only honest guys out there, man.
You know, give me a break. And so what we do when people, so there's two major components of our foreclosure system. We track them. And then I have an 8-letter direct mail campaign that gets a crazy 57% response rate, which anybody in direct mail knows that's unbelievable. But the message to the market is perfect. But when people respond to our marketing, we actually, one of the first questions we ask them is, do you want to keep your home? And if they do, of course, we disclose we can't give legal advice, but we talk to them about, you know, have you talked to your lender about deferment programs and et cetera. But we help a lot of people. So all of our deals, not all of our deals, but a lot of our deals revolve around 4 people winning. When we buy a house, most of the time there was stress involved. We relieve them of stress, relieve them of debt. And then when we fund it, private money, my lands. Right now, Carol Joy and I've got 47 private lenders, individuals that fund our deals, and we move from house to house to house. So the private lenders win big time because they get high rates of return safely and securely. In fact, that's what I'm known as across the nation, is the private money authority, helping real estate investors get funding regardless of their credit, regardless of their experience, regardless of their verification of income. So the private lenders win. Then those people that buy on rent to own win. And then, of course, I win. Real estate investor wins by orchestrating, those deals. So that's the overview of the process. Find, fund, flip, automate.
When did you come up with the process? When did the light dawn on you? Because Jake and I, with the multifaceted multifamily, over the last 18 months, we realized that we were controlling a lot of the aspects. We started the syndication arm of the business, which is the raising of the money. And we're like, wow, if they don't want the education, they don't want to learn, but they want to invest with us, here they can invest with us. And, the property management drives the whole thing because we're vertically integrated, we're controlling the process. When did it dawn upon you that you had this machine, this massive machine going on?
Probably not until about 5 years ago. 5 years ago.
And then how did you set it up? How did you say to yourself, wow, I can do this? Because there's a lot of work involved in this, because you're saying 5 hours a week, but I'm sure there were those 70, 80-hour weeks putting this thing together.
Laying the foundation, right?
Learning the systems,
yep.
Right?
Oh, my word. I remember maybe 7 years ago, no, longer than that, maybe about 9 years ago, I remember Carol Joy and I were at Lowe's Home Improvement at 8:45 one night, picking out blinds and knickknacks for the kitchen and the bathroom to get a house stage. And I looked at her, I said, what in the world are we doing at Lowe's Home Improvement at 8:45 at night? I said, what happened to us running the business? It feels like, and it was, the business was running us. So I set out on a mission to automate everything, to replace myself. I learned from my dad, dictate, delegate, and disappear. And then, of course,
I love that.
and then, of course, show back up when they least expect you. So I set out on this mission to automate everything. We started using virtual assistants to help us. Mm-hmm. Also got a full-time local assistant to oversee all the buyer leads and the seller leads coming in. And so it took about a year to get our processes automated to where I could actually step back and be the visionary instead of feel like, I was running around with my hair on fire all the time.
Are you doing EOS?
EOS. I'm not sure I know what EOS is.
Man, you sound like we're doing this EOS stuff. It's this book called Traction. It's Entrepreneurial Operating System, and it's
wait a minute. I think I just heard about it at one of my mastermind groups I'm a member of. Yeah.
It's like you're verbatim EOSing on us right now, which is great. So hey, I want to get this right: dictate, delegate, and disappear.
You got it.
Be it
boom.
Right?
I love
That's what I say. Yes.
What'd you say? The triple D's.
Yes.
It's called the Triple D Man. Triple D Man. Or,
I love it.
Or at your upcoming event, you can teach the Triple D process.
I like
We might get in trouble in this sensitive environment that we're in with the triple D. We might want to take that.
I want Jake to jump into the I'm a mentality, because this is the opposite of the.
He was just living the I'm a, so it's great. We go back when we were starting out. Same thing, man. I was running to like pick up an air conditioning unit or whatever, and it was just I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do everything, and then all of a sudden you're like. You can't do everything, and there's no way to scale. So that's a classic example of you being at Lowe's at 8:45 p.m. at night, trying to do it all, but you're actually not. You're preventing yourself from growing because you're like, oh, I got to do it all. I got to do it all. No, that's the wrong mentality, folks. You're not going to get anywhere if you try to do it all. You got to take people with you.
Yeah, I want to share a concept that goes right with what you just said, Jake, and that is. My light bulb on this did not light up until, I don't know, maybe about 7 years ago. I just never thought about it this way, and here's what I'm talking about. And boy, I want your viewers and listeners to get this. And here's the deal. Whenever I'm doing an activity, it doesn't matter what it is. Whenever I'm doing an activity that I can pay somebody else, let's say $15 an hour. Whenever I'm doing that activity that I can pay somebody else $15 an hour to do, while I'm doing that activity, I am earning $15 an hour. I just put the value of my time at $15 an hour if I'm doing an activity that pays and earns $15 an hour. So when I set out to automate those years ago, I took an inventory throughout the day of what am I doing right now. And I came up with this quote that I say all the time. Successes are scheduled. Successes are scheduled. And so my practice is I do a brain dump. On my yellow pad every night before I go to bed. And then early in the morning when I get up, then I take that brain dump and then I prioritize it. So anyway, be aware of what you're doing with your time, because unfortunately, until people actually captivate their time and can be in control of their time, then the tide takes them through the day. And how many times have we in the past thought to ourselves, you get to the end of the day and you think to yourself, why didn't I get anything done I wanted to do? I was doing all this other stuff. So take control of your time, and that ties right into this automation process.
I think a great best practice would be when you're doing that brain dump, this is for the listeners out there, if you drew a line down the middle and you put all the $15 activities that you did that day on the one side and then drew a curve to get them into the other column and work on ways to do that and start displacing those into the outsource column or the employee column, I think you're going to scale very quickly, especially if you're in that, that growth phase that everyone goes through when you're doing the IMA and it's time to shift. Right. So I think that would be a great best practice.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm going to call Jay Connor. I'm going to let Jake call Jay Connor Uncle Jay because Jay is speaking Jake's language, because Jake is Mr. Sunday morning playing I get emails, texts at 8:30 in the morning, what we doing this whole week. So he schedules out his entire week on Sunday morning, and it's a black sheet. He'll show you we're writing kind of guys. That's what we do. And that is like one of the most important things. And also, on that column, on that brain dump, maybe put your successes too, because we always beat ourselves up. What do we do great for the week? We have Monday morning huddles every Monday morning. We want to share our successes, so that'll motivate us and inspire us to do better. So don't only worry about what you're supposed to do. What did you do that was kick-ass? Because at the end of the week, 5 days, I'm sure you've done a lot. Like us, this is a win for us right now. This is Successes Podcast. We're having a great show. Put that down in your success, motivate it, and share it with other people. Don't only put down what you got to do, put down what you did. So that's just the tip. One of my.
Dad, you live in kick-ass though. When you operate and you live in kick-ass mode, I mean, it's just.
But you got to remind yourself, because life takes a beating at you. Sometimes you go to bed late at night.
Gunshots.
Yeah. So just celebrate those successes with other people and plan your day. I love that. I mean, if you plan to fail is failing to plan, whatever that saying is. And it's really important, and it cannot be, you don't want life to happen to you. That's the problem. Most of us just go through life not thinking about life, not planning for it. So those are really wise words from
start to drive the ship, you know.
That's right. So
get out of the back seat and start driving.
Jay, how did you start getting private lenders? You know, you said 90 days you raised all that money. You're in the business, but what tips could you give the listeners on how to start looking for private money and how to start that business?
Sure. So there are three primary categories on where to get private money from individuals. The first category is what I call your own warm market. Who do you know? Who's in your cell phone? Who's on your email list? Who's your Facebook friends? If you're over 50 years old, you still got a Christmas card list. So I teach my students to do just what I did, and that is to identify in your own warm market your top 100 potential private lenders out of your own contacts. And a lot of my students sometimes will say, "Hey, everybody in my warm market is broke. I don't know anybody, with money." Well, number one, I don't believe that, right? But no, I think
go find some new friends.
Exactly. Well, that's the third category. That's the third category. The second category is existing private lenders. Again, I'm not talking hard money. I'm not talking brokers. A lot of times when people hear private money, they're actually thinking, or the person that's talking about it is talking about hard money, brokers. So, for example, myself and all my students that I teach, we pay our private lenders 8%. Whereas, hard money, which is broker money, is going to be national average 14%, with 4 points and extension fees of 2 points. So that's going to be averaging 20% the first year on hard money. But private money with the individuals is a whole different deal. So anyway, existing private lenders, I started doing that the hard way. I hired my attorney's paralegal to actually search public records, looking for individual names that had mortgages in our area. And over 3 months, I only came up with one person. So 7.5 years ago, I put together our private lender data feed that searches public records every month across the nation. And we pull in about 12,000 deals that individuals have funded. And so we search by zip code and et cetera. And then the third category that I teach is, as you just said, Jake, get some new friends. So I teach people where to go to network. And that's the civic groups. I mean, the Rotary Club, Business Networking International, becoming involved with the Chamber of Commerce. So, excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. So anyway, on the warm market, I put together this 16-minute audio called Stress-Free Investing. I've recorded that thing for over 1,000 of my students now. And what it does is it leads to a one-on-one appointment for a potential private lender to sit down with you and actually go over the private lending program. But this is not the way I do private money. And in fact, I got a free online class I'll offer your listeners before we finish up on the 5 steps of getting private money. But it's not about chasing or begging. It's about, in fact, do you know, guys, and I'm sorry, excuse me for a second. But do you know these years that I've been attracting private money, I have never asked anybody for money. Never. Not the first time. So, well, Jay, how do you get all that? How do you get all that private money if you haven't asked for it, right? Because I simply make my program available. I let the tools do the work. I send the audio by MP3 on email. I'll hand them a CD. I'll send them the YouTube link by text. Let them listen to the audio. And that audio does not try to sell them on my private lending program. It just raises or it makes them aware of what private money is. Mm-hmm. And then that leads to the one-on-one. I've got 47 private lenders. By the way, self-directed IRAs are very, very important in my world. Self-directed IRAs, over half of our private money has come from individuals that have got retirement funds, and they never even knew anything about self-directed IRAs until we told them. So in answer to your question, those are the 3 categories. We make it easy on getting the information out fast to your network, and then the one-on-one, explaining how the program works. And then it's all about the attraction factor, to tell you the truth. Get the word out and it comes to you.
What's the best way to get the word out to potential private lenders that you're offering high rates of return?
That audio, that 16-minute audio. And in fact, it's a very soft Now, if you're in a networking, if you're in the civic group, I mean, here's a casual conversation, really short script. Here we go. So, Gino, let's say that you and I have met at a social event or whatever. So, when somebody meets somebody for the first time, what do most people ask you? Well, they ask you, what do you do? What do you do? So, let's say you ask me, what do I do? Gino, we've met. And I say, well, I'm a real estate investor. And the first thing you're thinking in your mind is, that's nice.
He's rich.
I could care less. What's in it for me? So wouldn't it be really cool when somebody asks you, what do you do? Wouldn't it be cool to answer that question in a way that would arouse curiosity, lead to an interesting conversation, and perhaps attract some private money for you?
Let's hear the elevator pitch, man. Come on. You got me chomping at the bit here.
So here's the deal. When somebody ever asks me, what do I do? Or they ask my students, what do you do? Here's the answer. Put your seatbelt on.
Oh, buckle it in. Lock it down, Gino. Come
on. Here's the answer. I teach private lenders how to get higher rates of return than they can get anywhere else. I shut up, and you know what? They don't have a clue what I just said. It's like you'll get responses. So let me repeat it. It's simple. I teach private lenders how to get higher rates of return than they get anywhere else. So first of all, they don't know what I said. And it's hard to sort of like keep your mouth shut and just don't say anything. Mm-hmm. And they'll come back with, what did you say? Because you see, I framed myself as a teacher.
Yep.
Right? I said private lenders, they don't know what that is. But they did hear higher rates of return than they can get anywhere else, right? Mm-hmm. So that answer naturally leads to a conversation about what's private money, what's private lending, etc. So it arouses curiosity, and because if you answer the question, I'm a real estate investor, or I develop commercial real estate or whatever, the likelihood of that conversation advancing forward is slim to none, and Slim just got up and left.
Mm-hmm. I like that. So it's Jake, it's all about the empowering questions. He's leading other people to ask open-ended questions, and that's the key to actually starting a conversation. Talk to me, bro.
Two things. He's got the arousal factor. All right. He's got the arousal factor, and he's also got people wanting more. It's just it's genius, right? Take the next step, man.
That's it. Yeah, and I'll give. I know you're probably running short on time. I'll give another little short script. So someone in your warm market that you already know, that you already have, some kind of relationship with, here's a powerful little script. This can take place over the telephone. And by the way, I go into all this detail on the free online class, but this can take place on the telephone, or it can take place in person. And so, Jake, let's say you and I have been friends, we know each other. I call you up. I say, hey, Jake, how's it going? Great, Jake. How you doing? Doing good. I hadn't talked to you in a little bit. How the kids? Kids are great. They say, Jake, as you may or may not know, I'm investing in real estate these days, and actually I'm taking advantage of the tidal wave of foreclosures that's still going on. Jake, what I'm getting ready to tell you, very few people know about, because quite frankly, the only way you can find out about this is if I tell you. In fact, this is by referral only. And so the deal is, Jake, I got a program that is paying higher rates of return than you can probably get anywhere else, but it may not be for you. Unless you answer yes to the following question, there's no need for me to give you any more information. That's the takeaway. That's the takeaway, by the way. And the question is, Jake, do you have investment capital that's not giving you a high rate of return safely and securely?
If I wasn't Jake, I would say yes.
Actually, there's a real important part of that little question I need to add to. Say, Jake, do you have investment capital or retirement funds not giving you a high rate of return safely and securely? And then I'll do something that's hard for me to do. Shut up.
Stop talking. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I'll let Jake answer the question. Now, a lot of my students will say, Jay, I'm not, I know people with some money or they got retirement funds, but I'm not comfortable asking that question to them. I'm intimidated. So here's another way to wrap that question. In fact, this is the way I got my first private money, $250,000. I went up to this gentleman. I'd known him pretty much all my life. And I said, I know you know a lot of people. I know you've been in the business community a long time. I know that you're involved in the Rotary Club, et cetera. And I've got a new program that's now paying very high rates of return. I've now opened up my real estate business to people I know and trust. That's a powerful little phrase right there. I've now opened up my real estate investing business to people I know and trust, and I'm paying very high rates of return safely and securely. So when you run across someone that's not happy with their returns, would you refer them to me? And then I shut up. Guess what the gentleman said to me? He said, well, what kind of rates of return are you talking about? See, I didn't ask him personally. I asked him to spread the word, is all I said. He said, what kind of rates of return are you talking about? And I said, well, it's flexible, depends on the deal. What sounds high to you? And at this time, CDs were paying about 3%. Did you know, Gino and Jake, the average CD, 12-month CD is now 0.59% in the nation? Anyway, at the time it was about 3%. He said, well, I don't know. Me and my wife, we're getting about 3%. He says, I don't know. Maybe 5 or 6% would be high. And I said, well, I can't pay 5 or 6%, but I can pay 8%. And he said, put me down for $250,000. So I didn't ask him for money. You know, that was exactly what he said. Put me down for $250,000. And, you know, I didn't ask him for money. I asked him to spread the word. And of course, and he did. I mean, he was interested. And of course, he spread the word. That's another thing about this world of private money. Once you get just a little handful of private lenders, I mean, the word's going to spread. I mean, my lands, just like 2 months ago, I got referred this guy. This gentleman was referred to me. And the conversation over the telephone was maybe 10 minutes. I got $300,000 pledged. We did our first couple of deals. He called me up, last week. Now all of a sudden he's got another couple of 100,000. They always have more than they tell you. Okay. So the referrals start coming, and, you know, again, there's no chasing, there's no begging. It's all about just getting the word out and attracting it.
And then performing, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry?
No, and then performing.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. And here's another big thing. When you get, and I don't ask the private lenders to sign anything committing their funds. I mean, if I do, I'm just sort of telling them indirectly, I don't trust you. So I get a verbal pledge. And here's a big secret. Deploy the funds very quickly, because it will disappear on you if you don't. Ask me how I know. So,
how do you know?
Because I didn't put some money to work that was pledged to me some years ago, and they found another place to put it. So put the money to work. Put the money to work. And I'll tell you one thing I teach as well, and I practice, the money comes first. I mean, you know, I've got some friends that teach, go get a deal under contract. The money will show up. I'm sorry. I don't want the stress of putting earnest money on a house, and I have no idea where the funding's coming from, you know. And of course, we talk about creative financing, seller financing, subject to the existing note, lease purchase, all that. But at the end of the day, the majority of sellers, even for sale by owners, are going to require all the funding and all the money.
Jake, before we go into the short answers, I just want to recap for everybody and the golden nuggets that I got out of this. So the first thing is, Jay likes to posture up. Typical sales technique where he's posturing up and he's showing that he's the expert in the space. And by doing his training, he's going to teach you how to do that, because that's the most important thing in sales, that you're an expert in what you're doing and you're able to convey and listen to people. It's all about listening and asking those empowering questions. And if you don't know how to do that, go on his platform, learn how to do that. The second thing is, it's really all about the networking and the meetups, because people ask us, well, where's the money? Create your own meetup. Go to the Rotary Club. Get involved in a RIA or whatever it is. Create your own.
Put yourself around guys, you know, that you want to be around, that are interested in the stuff that you're in, and also have opportunities to help you financially or with deals, whatever it is. Build that network, no doubt.
I got so many of the golden nuggets, but I think the next one is, what we're doing with the syndication, if you're going to start raising money yesterday, because you need to make substantive relationships, start growing that base, start talking to people. So when the opportunity like Arcad and the richest man in Babylon shows up, you're ready, bro. You're lucky. Jay's lucky because he's got all his money and he found the deal. No, he's not lucky. He started working hard, and luck will show up because he started out with the job. So that's what we've been doing with our syndication. We were pledging a lot of capital. We looking for deals, but we started months ago because it's a lot of hard work. This is not easy. It's fun, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. And it's not just being a slick salesman. It's actually offering opportunities and listening to people and giving them what they want. People want higher rates of return. Can you give that to them? Yes. They don't care if you're a real estate investor. People ask me what I do. I have a podcast. I help people buy multifamily. They don't care that I own 900 units. They want to know how I did it. That's a different story, but they don't want to know that I own 900 units because that's of no value to them. I can continue to go on, Jake, but I think that's the golden nuggets that I've gotten. I want you to answer the short questions. And then
well, one other thing too I want to talk about is, what he went through in the financial crash. That's why it's so important, especially in our space when you're buying large multifamily buildings, to get long-term fixed rate financing in place. So if things do turn, you're not sitting there saying, shit, what do I do now? Right. That's why that's the finance rate portion. Get long-term, low, cost, low interest rates on long-term financing. It's so important. I took that. Love the dictate, delegate, and disappear. I wrote that down. I'm going to be using that one. Jay, what is your best habit for success? Something that you do on either a daily basis, weekly basis. This is the stuff that I love, actually getting in your brain, finding out what makes you tick and the things that you do to ensure success every day.
Absolutely. So I learned this from Hal Elrod. Okay. So the Miracle Morning. Mm-hmm. And so here's the morning practice. There's an acronym called SAVERS. And here it is. I mean, when I have shared this with my friends, this number one thing has the most dramatic impact on their life, not just success in business, but their entire life, their relationships. S stands for silence. This takes 60 minutes in the morning. There is a way to do it 6 minutes, but the best way is 60 minutes. So first, silence, which can be meditation, prayer, etc. That goes for about 5 minutes. The A stands for affirmations, which are actually written down the night before. That takes about 5 minutes. The V is visualization as to what you want to see your success being. The E is exercise for 20 minutes. Stairmaster is my preferred way. R is for reading, which takes about 10 minutes. And then the S is for scribing, which is journaling. That 60 minutes in the morning will revolutionize your life.
Just can't get with the journaling. I'm down with everything else, and I still haven't read the damn book yet. But I feel like
hey, look. Well, let me tell you. Let me give you a suggestion on the journaling, because I had a block there to say, wonder what am I going to journal about? Write the nuggets down of what you learned in your 10 minutes from reading the 10 minutes prior.
Or listen, because Jake doesn't read either. So
listen. Well, it's the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. You Audible, so you listen.
Audible is the new reading. All right.
Yes. I like it.
What would you have done differently when starting out?
What would I have done differently? Well, I alluded to that when we first started the show, and that is when you're getting into multifamily, like you all are, single family real estate investing, get a mentor to work with, get the right training, learn from someone that's already made the mistakes right up front. Don't wait like I did.
What you just mentioned the Miracle Morning. What about a book recommendation?
Oh my word. So the book that had the biggest impact on my life overall, besides the Bible, of course, is University of Success by Og Mandino. It's set up into like semesters, but it's all about personal development. And when I was 24 years old, the principles are still just as relevant today as they were when I first read it in 1984. And when I come across someone that is stuck, life is not going the way they want to, when they do University of Success, it'll turn them around.
Man, you got me really like pumped up right now, because you like Jeffrey Gitomer? Have you ever read any of his stuff?
Oh my word. Jeffrey, lives right here in North Carolina in Charlotte. And I've got every one of his books.
So when I remember, because I started out in sales and was reading all the Gittimer stuff. I loved it. I remember he had this reading list, and I saw this, and I thought it was OG Mandino. I didn't know it was Og, and you said that. I'm like, I've heard that. No, I was like, it's the OG. He's the original gangster or something. It's Og Mandino. What was the book though? Because I actually never got to any of Og's books. But what was
the smart dude?
What was the one you recommended?
Yeah, University of Success.
If it's good enough for Gittimer, it's good enough for me, okay? Bottom line.
Absolutely.
What project are you excited about right now?
My new podcast.
Oh, what is it? Let us know, man. What is it?
So I launched my podcast about 2 months ago, and it's called Real Estate Investing with Jay Conner, and I'm an ER, CONNER. And subtitles The Jay Conner Show. So I don't have 35,000 downloads a month like some folks I know, but
you will. You'll blow right past this.
That's right. But anyway, I would when I get up and going real good, I'd love to have you guys back on my show as a guest. I'll get back in touch with you in a few months.
Sounds good. So what's the next step? How can folks get a hold of you? What else you got going on?
Sure. So I've got a free online class for your viewers and listeners. It's called Where to Get the Money Now. So it's the 5 steps on how to go from zero funding to learning exactly how I got over $2 million in less than 90 days. And here's the URL. It's jakeandgino.com/private money, all in lowercase. And your viewers and listeners can go there and attend the free online class. It's on demand.
Very cool.
Mr. Stenziano, I have to jump in real quick. I want to thank Jay for being on here for a couple of reasons. I thought we were going to get a guy who was going to talk about single family homes and fixing and flipping. And what this did to me was it revolutionized how people should start syndicating and raising money for multifamily, because it can be across all spectrums. That's the first thing. And the second thing is he just reaffirms the multifaceted aspect of it. The third thing I think he reaffirms, putting systems in your business. If a guy who's at Lowe's at 8:45 at night, or a guy here who's washing dishes, or a guy there who's using a chainsaw can do it, anybody can do it. You just need to have that aha moment and be aware, right? Be cognizant of our lifestyle is supposed to be dictating our business. Our business is not supposed to be dictating our lifestyle. And that's what Jay has done in his, and that's what you've done, and that's what I've attempted to do. So follow the framework, because that private money is out there. You're not asking for money. You're offering an opportunity. And I think that's the biggest golden nugget of everything. So just wanted to recap it.
You ready?
Yep.
Dictate, delegate, and disappear. All right? It's as simple as that, my friend.
Triple D's, right? Like that.
Hey, look, by the way, guys, I'm also glad to give out, if someone just wants to reach out to me at my office, my website is jayconner.com, JAYCONNER.com. And we actually answer the telephone if anybody wants to call us up and talk real estate. Nice. We're here in North Carolina, 252-808-2927. That's 252-808-2927.
Very cool. Jay, really appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Jay.
Hey, I tell you what, guys, love your energy, love your story, love your success. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a blast.
Thanks.
Are you feeling inspired by the knowledge you gained in this episode? Then head over to jayconner.com/moneyguide. That's JCONNER.com/moneyguide and download your free guide that shares 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate investing business right now. Again, that's jayconner.com/moneyguide to get your free guide. We'll see you next time on Raising Private Money with Jay Conner.